After 8 years, I finally watched MSNBC again. Welcome to the Honor and Knowledge channel. The subject of this video is my first return to watching the left-leaning media after 8 years. Back in 2016, I became disgusted with the CNN, MSNBC, and other related organizations because of how dishonorable they were, how misleading they were. After 8 years, I thought after the election that it would be interesting to watch them, to see what they were saying, instead of watching Fox News about what CNN and MSNBC were saying, because quite honestly, over 8 years, that's how I saw what was going on CNN and MSNBC, was because I would watch Fox News, and Sky News Australia too was good at it, and it was interesting to see that there was no reason to start watching them again. But on Friday, I did turn on Morning Joe. It was interesting to me because Bob Woodward was there, and he was a respected journalist. And Joe Scarborough, I know enough about him to know, even though there's some things that aren't so hot, the reality is he was a very conservative congressman for many years. He had a pretty good career, and I thought this would be great. This was high probability of being a good show. It took less than 10 minutes for me to realize that he was misleading, or stronger term was dishonorable, and a really strong word was, in my view, lying. And he was also being a bully. And who was he bullying? Bob Woodward. Bob Woodward was there because a respected journalist. It was great for their show. I'm sure he gets paid for it, which is part of the problem here. So he gave a discussion about how news media should move forward from here to be good. Later on, you'll see it in his own words. But then Joe Scarborough bullied him. Bob Woodward caved and started being a non-journalist. Having said that, I was going to give up again, and then I realized, for the good of our country, these organizations, these journalists, need to start doing their job properly. So I looked into it a little bit, and I realized there's lots of journalist organizations, probably hundreds, and they have a code of ethics, which is basically identical from all of them, from what I see, and they're not in compliance. They being the news organizations, they being the journalists, nobody is being, as far as I can see, well-principled journalists that are in compliance with their code of ethics. So I looked at how people get trained. Turns out, you want to be a journalist? I'm a journalist. And then if you look at the organizations that spout that the information that they are there to improve journalism, you look, they have the code of ethics, which we get into later, but nobody enforces it. There is no criteria to keep the name journalists. That's a problem. So here we go. Let's look into this together.
Oh, here we are. Where do we go from here?
We go to Bob Woodward because Bob Woodward has been around Donald Trump for most of the past decade, writing books about him. Bob, I'm curious about where you think this country is as we move towards a second Trump term.
Well, I think it's going to be a great test for lots of institutions, including the media. Yesterday morning, I had over for breakfast Will Lewis, who's the CEO of the Washington Post, Matt Murray, who's the editor. They are committed to being very aggressive to look at what Trump might be doing. But I think the motto is no cheap shots, that we have to be really steadfast in the reporting, but get out some of the politicalization of the commentary and stick to the facts. I know they're committed to doing that. The Washington Post is a strong institution, and I think in coming months is going to get stronger.
That sounded perfect.
So speaking of facts, let's talk about some of the things Donald Trump said during the campaign, some of the promises he made. And based on your reporting, based on your knowledge of Donald Trump as a leader and as someone who lost the election in 2020, but said he should have stayed in power. What should Americans make of Donald Trump saying that he was going to arrest Liz Cheney or put her in front of a firing squad?
Say it ain't so, Joe.
He never said that. This is a lie, Joe.
That he was going to arrest Mark Milley.
Say it ain't so, Joe.
He never said that either. This is a lie, Joe.
That he was going to shut down CBS News.
Say it ain't so, Joe.
Trump never said he would shut them down. Trump did say that they should lose their license, meaning through the administrative processes.
I could go on and on. There are, of course, 1,000 things that he said that many people found shocking. Right now, you have people in and out of government trying to figure out, was that just Donald Trump on the campaign trail talking, or should he be taken at his word? Because his own supporters said, oh, he doesn't mean any of that. He's just saying that to rev up the crowd.
I didn't find any of that information. Sources, please, Joe. But I guess really, nah, they didn't say that.
I'm curious, based on your knowledge, if you were Mark Milley or you were Liz Cheney or you were CBS News, would you be worried right now?
Well, of course you're going to be worried. Trump hasn't changed. I spent the last year of his presidency interviewing him for 9 hours, how he handled the coronavirus, and it was tragic. He doesn't understand lots of things. He likes to smash things up.
So who really understands everything?
And he's in for a fight. There's a lot of hand wringing in the Democratic Party now. The Democratic Party needs to come back to life.
Why?
The news media is going to be there. There's going to be that tradition of accountability.
So here's the solution. However, accountability is a 4-letter word for the liberals. It is their kryptonite.
I know your network, the other television networks, so we're going to have a fight, but let's keep it factual. Again, theme from at least what I'm going to try to practice is no cheap shots. At the same time, the aggressiveness of the reporting is going to be endless. It is going to be monumental. We're going to be measured. When I say we, the news media, but the country is going to be measured by how do we deal with this?
So how do we deal with this? What is this? Let's hope that this means the lack of accuracy and ethics in the news media. We can only hope that's what he's talking about.
He is somebody, got to know him well, and he just does not understand lots of things.
Oh no, so this is Donald Trump. Shucks, you almost had the golden ring there, Mr. Woodward.
Does he have people that he will bring in who will maybe help him understand?
Gee, you think a president will bring in some people who actually know some things better than he does? Gee, I thought that's a normal thing. But best part, listen real fast and get the no from the co-host.
No.
So, Bob, you say you had time, and that's why I'm asking you these questions. So, again, when Donald Trump says that he's going to put the military and the National Guard out to arrest people like Nancy Pelosi and the next senator from the state of California.
Say it ain't so, Joe. Say it ain't so.
Is that, again, based on your knowledge of Donald Trump, is that a credible threat? Is that a credible concern? Or is this just hyperbole, as a lot of Trump supporters say, oh, he just says that, he doesn't really mean it? Based on your knowledge, what is it?
Well, there are a lot of people in that example in the military who are just not going to do it.
No, Trump never did say that. And that's what Senator and VP candidate Vance said on October 27th. He never said he was going to send the military after the American people. But here comes the bully.
They will not go along with extra.
But I'm asking about Donald Trump. I'm asking about Donald Trump. If you don't want to state an opinion, I can move on, Bob.
And there's the threat. If Scarborough moves on, that would impact Bob Woodward's compensation probably, and probably future invitation, which means impacting his money.
But I'm asking you based on your knowledge.
Bob Woodward's nervous laughter is indicative of him being truly concerned at this point.
But I'm asking you based on your knowledge of Donald Trump. I'm asking you to just report the news here, to give us insight, because you have better insight. Are these credible threats at this point, or was that just Donald Trump trying to whip up his crowd by talking about the military arresting Democrats?
But Joe, you're asking me to predict the future. We can't predict the future.
No, I'm asking for you.
So Bob Woodward again tried to stick to his moral high ground.
Joe, you're asking me to predict the future. We can't predict the future.
I'm asking for
we
your
know
insights.
who he is.
I know who you are. So if somebody asks me about Bob Woodward's reporting, do you think Bob has it right? I go, yeah, because I know that Bob does multiple sources. If somebody asked me about Jen Psaki and asked me something, I would take my experience knowing Jen Psaki, and I would say, no, you can take that to the bank, that what she's saying is the case. I'm just saying, when a guy that's running for president says he's going to use the military to arrest Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, all I am asking is, based on your knowledge of him as a reporter, based on how he governed, should those people be seeing that as a credible threat right now?
Yeah, indeed worried, because there is immense, as we know, concentration of power in the president. He can do all kinds of things. I know those generals. I know somebody like Secretary of Defense Austin. He's not going to be pushed around. Now, Trump will find somebody else to do it. These institutions are strong. Trump is going to run into them, and it may be a fight. Okay, let's have the fight about it. I know these people, particularly in the military, they are not going to be pushed around, and they will be in the Oval Office, if he will have them, and say, you can't do this. You should not do this. And now, is Trump going to be Trump? Quite possibly.
Right. Well,
but
Trump's going to be, Bob, Trump is going to be Trump.
So they bash Mr. Trump some more, and then Bob Woodward tried to recover some of his dignity. But don't worry, Bob Woodward will indeed cave again.
He also may, let's have a path of optimism here. He's going to realize that he's got an opportunity to do some of the things. Rhetorically, he talks about being president of all the people. We'll see. But this is going to be a fight. And don't worry about it being a fight, because the people and the institutions are stronger, and can he overpower them? Can he use the power of the presidency to destroy our Constitution and our legal system?
Oh no, it looks like Bob Woodward drank the Kool-Aid and went to the dark side.
We get to watch and see what that effort might be, but let's not kid ourselves. He's dangerous. He is somebody I've spent hours interviewing, just does not understand things, does not understand the responsibility of the president.
Oh, for shame, Bob, for shame. You need to watch this next part. So here's a code of ethics. It is standard throughout the journalism industry, even though it doesn't appear to me that it's actively used by any organization. However, my review also indicates that if they actually used it, it would be the savior of their whole legacy media world. So let's go down to the bottom right-hand corner. Here's a blown-up part. Be accountable and transparent. Explain ethical choices and processes. Respond quickly to questions about accuracy. And then the third bullet, or little arrow, acknowledge mistakes and correct them promptly and prominently. Explain corrections and clarifications carefully and clearly. Expose unethical conduct in journalism, including within their organizations. Abide by the same high standards they expect of others. Now, sarcastically, I'll say, since they don't expect anybody to have these high standards, that last one sort of seems a moot point. However, if they follow these rules, then what would we see? First of all, the legacy media would be believable. They wouldn't be as much involved with shock stuff because they'd actually have to say, for example, if somebody said that dog is overweight, and then somebody else says, he said that that dog was fat, that would be a lie. The person did not say that the dog was fat. The person said the dog was overweight. Very different thing. And if Joe Scarborough and Morning Joe and MSNBC were actually following these rules, they would all apologize for what they said just in this one, let alone all the other ones. And the back office, I saw that picture one time. They have about 20 people back there. That's my guesstimate. I mean, they got a whole staff of people, and they should know better than to do what they're doing. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much for your interest. Have a great day.